This is Sandcast, beach volleyball with Tri-Born and Travis Mewurder, brought to you as always by our sponsors at volleyballmag.com. I'm on time today.
Booyah.
And I'm doing the intro again. Tri, you took care of the last two intros.
Yeah, a little shaky.
I didn't hit it with the aloha, but that's your signature touch, so I can't take it.
Do your Maryland signature touch.
We have a wonderful guest on the podcast today. We have Miss Nicolette Martin, another USC Trojan.
Oh, yeah.
How we doing?
Great. Awesome. Thanks so much for having me here, you guys.
You all recovered from Seattle?
Yeah, body's getting there, but clearly my voice is still gone from all the cheering. So, yeah, just trying to get that back.
I loved watching you and Allie play just because it's fun to watch people who are really passionate about the game. And you and Allie, you just look like you have a ton of fun playing volleyball together. I know that you guys played at USC for, 3 years together? Mm-hmm. And then got the team back together for Seattle.
Yeah.
It just looks like you guys have a blast playing together, which makes it fun to watch.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, we played it 3 years at USC, freshman, sophomore, junior year, and then we played in a couple AVPs, in the summers between years at USC. And actually, our very first tournament very first AVP that we ever qualified for was in Seattle, 2015, at the same qualifier site as this year. So that was a really fun experience, just knowing that we had done it once there before. And we had a ton of fun this tournament just because, we were just getting back together after a year and a half or whatever off. And yeah, it didn't take long at all for the chemistry to just work back in. It was super fun.
It didn't seem like it. Is it different just playing with two smalls versus because I know you played with Therese Cannon too. Mm-hmm. So is it weird going back to having a smaller partner versus having just a set blocker and defender?
Allie is small for a blocker, I think, but she has mad hops. So she's just been she's been a solid blocker for a while. I know that her and Sophie kind of tried to split a little bit at USC, but she just has incredible blocking dynamics. So even though she's a little undersized, I think she's right up there with the big blockers for sure.
Yeah.
So it's not too much of a difference for me.
And Seattle obviously vibes well with you guys. Like you said, you were a sophomore when you first qualified?
Yeah, in between sophomore and junior year.
Okay.
Yeah.
How was it? I'm always interested in what the college players think of just the transition from playing at the college level to the AVP level. Because obviously there's a big difference there. Did you have to change up your style of game at all, or is it just kind of the same thing? You're just playing at a little higher level?
It's kind of the same thing, just, playing at a higher level. But it was really funny when we first qualified, in between sophomore and junior year, we got to the main site and of course we were just nervous beyond anything. We were just freaking out, and we didn't even know that there was a player's tent or medical or food or anything for us. We were just so nervous in the fact that we had to play April Rosh and Jen Fatma at the time. And so we went to the first game and got spanked, of course. And we're just oh my gosh. And then I think after the first game, we realized there was a player's tent. But at that point, we looked at each other and we were are you even allowed to go in there? We are not worthy of going in there. And so it was, the first tournament was super nerve wracking, but just playing in more AVPs and getting used to that with being around all the big names and players and everything, it got better for sure.
Yeah, I always forget what it's like to be young on tour. You kind of get spoiled with it. And then we were interviewing some of those younger guys this week for a Sandcast interview, and they're talking oh, I got to wait for the bus next to Ryan Doherty. I was what? That's cool. But I'm oh yeah, I guess when I was younger, that's totally how it was. And yeah, going into the players' tent is a huge deal.
Oh my gosh. When we went in, so that year when we cautiously walked into the players' tent, I nearly bumped into Casey Patterson and had a heart attack. I was oh my God, I'm sorry. Excuse me. But that was cool too, because he's always been kind of an inspiration behind the cheering and crazy madness.
Losing your voice.
Yeah, for sure.
Now it's all coming together. Yeah, no, I think it's good too. Like, it reminds me, like, as an older player, now I'm an older player, like how much it means to like the younger players, to, like, bring them into the tent, like show them around, like, you know, like those kids were just stoked just to like be interviewed by us and like that kind of thing. So I think it's good to like remind the older players, like, you were once in that position and it means a lot more than you'd think to like just say hi and that kind of thing.
Yeah, and I think it does give the older players kind of a dose of perspective too, of just like how much they're respected and looked up to. Because like, and the younger kids we're talking about are John Schwengel and Rowdy Lennon, who were the ones who got the automatic main draw bid via AVP first, and it was funny to watch them like taking pictures with fans and signing autographs. And John was like, I don't even know what my signature looks like. It's funny to see everyone's first experience on tour.
Yeah.
And I mean, you've obviously come a very long way since that first time in Seattle. When did that kind of imposter syndrome fade away? And like now, when you're in the players' tent, you obviously belong. Like, when did you get that sense of, yeah, I belong here. Like, I'm an AVP player.
I think it must have been New York of just last year. I think we were still like walking in, like, it was me and Allie at the time, and we were still walking in like, there's no more seats at any tables. Like, what do we do? Like, we can't just like, oh, they're sitting at a table and there's 2 chairs, but like that feels like their table. Like, I don't want to like, nobody knows us here. Like, and so we were still. I mean, I guess it was after that when I played with Therese Cannon when we made the main draw in San Francisco, and like her not ever being in a main draw before then, and like having to kind of like step up a little bit and be like, okay, like use the medical, like use the tent, and like you put your feet up over here, who cares if they're sitting here? And that's when it kind of clicked for me, like it's fine. Like, you got to do your thing and take care of yourself.
Yeah. And now you took a 7th in San Francisco last year, and that had been your best finish. And then you come out this year straight out of the qualifier to 5th, and then again straight out of the qualifier to 5th. So you've made big strides.
Yeah.
What have you seen change or improve in your game that has kind of increased it from where a 7th was a really good finish to now 5th is becoming somewhat of the norm?
So I started out the season with Sarah Day, and we started in Huntington and did awful. We went 0-2 on the first day after getting a wild card into the main draw of that FAVB, and so we were super pumped on that. And then the 2 games we played went to 3, and we lost both of those, which was like pretty upsetting way to start. And so I think we kind of used that as like fuel for our fire for Austin, and I just kept thinking like, oh man, I'm looking for some redemption. And so we went into Austin, and yeah, we took a 5th, and I think behind like all that, we've been working, with our coach, and we've just been super like open with each other. And like before every practice, we talk about our goals and like how we're feeling. Like, did you wake up late today? Was it hard to get out of bed? Like, do you feel like it might be a rough practice? Like, yeah, okay. And we just like would talk about things and like where we're at with our bodies and like what we can give each other today. And like, just, I think learning to like, just like talk to my partner more and like be super open and like honest about everything, and like really like trusting your partner, and knowing that they're going to give their 100%, like, just, I think made me more free with my volleyball. And yeah, that's been super helpful for sure. And like, I think it's got me where I am.
Yeah. And just, I don't think I saw anyone on the beach as much as I did you from like January till now. Like every time I was out there, like every tournament, even if I wasn't playing, just wandered out to like a random AVP next, like you were playing that one too. I mean, how many hours do you put on the beach in like any given week? Because I feel like you just have this motor that is nonstop.
Yeah, I don't know where that came from. I think just like, being at SC, they like really pushed us. Like we were training 6 days a week, and then Sunday was like the rest day. And it was an hour of lifting Monday through Thursday, and then a 3-hour practice following that Monday through Saturday. And I think just like that starting freshman year and just like doing that for 4 years, it's like thinking like, okay, we won 3 national championships, like something about that worked.
Right.
And like I got better. So it's like, I need to keep going. Like I can't stop. And I'm like, I see all these other like older athletes that like, they take days off and stuff, which I'm like learning to do. But yeah, coming out of college, it was like gotta just like keep up the routine, like gotta keep going and play every tournament on the weekends. And I'm learning now, like I just played like, just to play a tournament, I played like a AAA, and just like having to play like 7 little sets and like having to warm up your body like 7 times. I was like, I don't know if I can do this, these little tournaments anymore.
It is amazing. Like me and Hayden used to talk about like, how many warm-ups have we done? Like they're like basically workouts, right? For an average person, like getting yourself to the point where you're just ready to play is a pretty legit workout for a normal person. And we're just like doing that 2 times a day, every day for like these 4-day FIVBs and then practices, and like more than half our job is warming up. And putting sunscreen on.
Yeah, that's what, going through the qualifier and then reaching Saturday before our games, me and Allie were like, we looked at each other like, okay, I don't need that much of a warm-up today.
That's true.
Like, give me 2 serves and I'm ready to go. Like,
I just always get so antsy before matches. Like, even though I know I should be like kind of settling down, I'm just like, can we just pepper for like another 10 minutes? And then my partner wants to sit down, so I grab someone else to go pepper with. I'm just constantly touching the ball just because, I don't know, I get super nervous. Have your nerves died down a little bit from qualifiers, or are they still pretty high up there?
I think they've died down a little. I don't know.
Qualifiers are scary, first of all. They're way worse than main draw.
Yeah, we actually, in our second round, just now in Seattle, we were down 11-9 in the third against Deanna Kraft and Brooke Bauer, from 2 girls from Pepperdine. And we knew that was going to be, like, our toughest match, and second round, not being the third. And, we were down 11-9, and we were switching sides, and I was like, oh, man. Like... shoot, like, this can't happen. And then we ended up winning 15-11. I don't know what happened there, but side switch, couple serves, and I was like, okay, we're okay now.
Sounds like you decided to win.
Yeah.
This can't happen. All right, 6 in a row.
Gotta
Sorry,
make it.
ladies.
I'm curious, what's the conversation like when you're making that switch down 11-9? Because I'm in that position a lot, and I'm always curious as to how different players sort of handle that. Because some are kind of, like, you look at Billy Allen or John Mayer, and they never look like they've been stressed on a volleyball court in their life. And then you look at maybe Azan, who's getting a little fiery out there. So how do you handle being down 11-9 in the third set, like lose and go home?
I try to think about affirmations. So, like, instead of, so for instance, in that game, I was passing bad. Like, I shanked a couple balls, all of a sudden down 11-9, then switching sides, and I'm going, like, I'm kind of starting to get a little nervous, like, okay, like, they're going to keep serving me, obviously. Like, am I going to pass this next ball? And instead of going, like, I need to get a good pass, I try to think of just, like, 2 things I can do to make the pass good. Like, I'm going to get my arms out early and away from me. And, like, that's it. I don't think about anything else. And I know that if I did that, then I did, like, all that I needed to do, So, and that's kind of what helped me after that,
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you handle it? Try, like, with you and Hayden, I know that obviously you guys played a ton of tournaments. We're probably in a situation like that pretty often. Like, how did you and Hayden handle that? We had,
at one point when we were making a run, we were down, we started almost every match down 1-4. It was really weird. We'd, like, be down 1-4 and be like, there's the score again. And we'd, like, laugh at it, and then we come back and usually win. But in those tight situations, for me, it's usually I go to just, like, not thinking at all. I kind of take that, like, very wide perspective look and just kind of try to see everything at once. Definitely recognize if I'm thinking about the last play, you got to just forget about it. It's gone, and just be as present as you can in that each moment to moment, each touch. But it to me, it feels like it's like I have like 5 minutes left to this match. Like I'm going to be here for all of it. And if I lose, then I'll lose. But, you know, you look back usually when you're losing, you're like, I could have been here, like a little more focused for a few of the plays. But I have this last 5 minutes left. So I'm just going to be here this entire 5 minutes. And usually, if you can pull it off, then you usually turn the match.
Yeah.
And when you don't go into that shell, kind of like where you're, you know, the body language that your opponent's reading, when you're just like stay confident, no matter what the score is, the other team kind of sees that and feeds off that. And they're like, oh shit, he's kind of going next level on me right now, and he's not like backing down from what we just did to him or whatever, you know. So just gotta stay steady and trust it.
I'm taking mental notes from both of you.
I mean, everyone's gonna have different things.
Oh,
you know?
yeah,
Sometimes
totally.
I'm repeating things in my head, like I'll say like, observe the behavior without judgment. Just repeating that in my head, just an error. Instead of judging it, just like observe it without judgment. And then I'm just like, okay, I hit the ball out because the set went past me and it went out. Okay, just accept it.
Yeah.
And then that helps you move on. But if you're judging yourself like you're an idiot, God damn it, the score was freaking tied. How did you blow that? Then you're judging it, and then you create this whole conversation in your head.
Yeah. I'm getting better at it because a lot of times my mind would just wander to like all the possibilities. Like if we blow this lead, like crap, now I got to fly home and just stew on that third set loss again.
Right.
Now I'm getting better with it because I know that just Reed Pretty is one of my favorite guys to talk about this because if you ever practice with him, he loves adversity.
Right.
And like in practice, he'll like say you win like the Rochambeau or whatever, he'll always just take the bad side. And so he's just like, adversity makes you better. So like I like thinking about that, and I'm like, okay, this is like going to be a learning moment regardless. Like if we come through, we learn how to get through it. If we lose, we'll figure out how to not do it next time.
Yeah.
So I'm slowly getting better at like corralling my mind back in.
Yeah. And again, like everybody has different things. Like back at USC, me and Allie would tell each other a joke. Sometimes literally on the court, or I'd look at her and be like, so what do you want for dinner tonight? Like just to like get your mind like just somewhere else for a second, and then you're like, okay, just like relax. Yeah, that would totally relax us.
I think that's sign too of a really good partnership chemistry too.
Yeah.
Because I feel like with some partners, if you told them a joke down 11-9, they'd be like, what the hell are you talking about?
Focus.
Totally. It's one thing to be able to like corral your own mind in that moment, but then to also like counter that with your partner, because that's the other half of the team, to be able to get them in the right mindset is like, that's kind of the winning formula. Like with Hayden, I think it was just like, I'm listening. Like, make us win. I will execute whatever the plan is, but make up this plan right now. Tell me what to do.
I want to kind of jog back to your days at USC too. Now you had a relatively late start into volleyball, right? Because you were all soccer growing up.
Yeah, I was all soccer up until end of middle school, and then I dabbled in volleyball like at the same time that I was starting to end soccer, and then. Joined an indoor club team, and I don't know how, but made the varsity team at my high school. And at the same time, so freshman year of high school, that's when I started playing beach.
Okay.
So when I was like 14.
Quick learner.
Yeah.
And so what about volleyball kind of stuck and made you obviously fall in love with it? I mean, anybody who watches you play, like you're clearly passionate and just play with like a ton of joy on the court.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been super competitive, but I don't know what it was about. I always thought I was like gonna be a soccer player, like that was gonna be me, and like that was gonna be my thing. And then decided I didn't like running that much.
That took a while.
Yeah, it did. I don't know, and so I stopped that right away and found volleyball. I didn't even know like volleyball was really a sport when I was that young, and so then I joined like the co-ed team in middle school, and I was like, this is actually really fun, like wonder what club's like, and kind of just went from there. Like, I wonder if I could make the high school varsity team. Like, yep, all right, like let's see what else I can do. And the more competitive it got, the more I was like, wow, this is definitely for me. Yeah.
You think there's a lot of, I mean, we talk about it a lot on here, kind of like what people think in terms of, like, if it's important to play a lot of sports when you're a kid or different sports rather than some of the athletes. And we've had people from both sides who have only played volleyball and other people have like, nah, I played every sport, didn't really play volleyball, and that's what helped me become a good volleyball player. Do you think that a lot of your experiences as a soccer player like prepared you for volleyball, even though it's obviously a complete opposite sport?
I mean, I think it's good to, like, you know, when you're younger, play a bunch of sports. You just like get, you know, my parents threw me in every sport except for I think like basketball, and so I got like the individual dynamic of like tennis, you know, and then you're on all these different teams with like soccer and I don't know. I guess I'm not sure, but I do think that I think it's good to, you know, like dabble in everything. That's right. And then you figure out what you like. That's where, I guess that's how it led me to volleyball.
I feel like for me, like, I feel like every sport, because I played tons of sports growing up. I feel like every sport I played, I got to pick like one little aspect of it. Like for soccer, it was like conditioning, because we had like a gnarly coach until freshman year of high school I played. And he'd just make us run until we like throw up, which is like, if I played volleyball my whole life, I'd never learn that. Like, not that I do that now, but like when we hit the gym, like you're going to a point where you're very uncomfortable, right? So I learned that part. I learned how to, deal with the wind and conditions, being a surfer, paddler, sailing, all that kind of stuff. Basketball is a whole different, you know, skill set. I feel like for me, I wouldn't be the volleyball player I was if I didn't play all those sports. But we had a few people on, right, that only played volleyball.
I'm definitely in your camp, and Tim Baumgren is another supporter of, because he played everything growing up, and and I did too. And like I can see in like my game these specific aspects from each sport that I kind of pulled from it. But like Sarah Sponsel, you know, she's been volleyball nonstop since the day she could walk.
Until she took up unicycling.
And now she's doing like unicycling, and she put a video. She did 100-yard handstand walk. Whoa. Yeah. It was like the craziest thing I've ever seen.
She's a freak athlete. I actually played with her for a year on the beach before USC.
Yeah?
Yeah. She's so funny.
Y'all would be a good team now.
She's classic.
The little team that could.
But, yeah, and then we had Taylor Crabb on 2 weeks ago, and he said that, you know, playing every different kind of sport helped him a ton.
Right.
And, I mean, it's obviously working for him, whatever he's doing.
Yeah.
It actually, his kind of spirit on the beach reminds me a little bit of yours, too, and it's just like he plays all the time. Like, he has to have his coaches tell him not to play for him to take. And even then, he pops in a couple drills.
Yeah. Like, he might be playing in some, like, for fun 4-man today after winning AVP Seattle yesterday.
I wouldn't doubt it at all.
Yeah.
Like, he played in, like, 3 or 4 AVP necks in, like, February.
Right.
I'm sure he didn't tell Jake that.
Yeah.
Whoops.
With you going to college, so you played 4 years varsity at your high school, but you went to USC for beach only. Mm-hmm. So what made you want to go? Because I'm sure you probably had offers indoors as well. What made you want to go with USC beach rather than indoors elsewhere?
I never saw myself as a super good indoor player. Like, I mean, looking at, you know, like the D1 colleges and stuff, I was like, oh man, I just didn't really like see myself at that level. And so I was looking at D2 schools. I looked at like Academy of Art University and San Francisco, because I wanted to study art in college. And but so yeah, I mean, throughout high school I was doing both beach and indoor, and I remember having the conversation with my USA coach at the time, John Aharoni, and Jose Loyola. We kind of sat down, and I realized like I need to, like, I'm kind of like at this level with both of these sports, and like I need to drop one if I really want to excel like at the other. And like I just had sat down and had like this just like thought about it for a while, and I just had realized like I just felt better like on the beach. I could see myself going to these like really like cool heights with the sport that I just didn't see myself doing with indoor. And I like had realized like through that time of thought, like I just loved the sport way more, because I think it's just like a whole different ballgame. And I love the atmosphere with our sport. Like I tell everybody all the time, like
Yeah.
I love the atmosphere and the tournaments, and everybody's so cool and
Yeah.
super friendly and just like cracking jokes all the time, and like nobody's ever too serious. It's like a really cool balance. So that's like, yeah. So then I committed pretty late to USC, but found Donna Collier at a USA camp, and she said, yeah, like come for a visit. And yeah, so I committed my senior year just for beach at USC.
And did you expect to start your first year, or was that a bit of a surprise when you and Allie slipped into that number 5 spot?
No, if you asked Anna now, like, oh, like coming in, where did you see Nicolette? She would be like, oh, just a walk on, like, bench that girl, like,
Practice
she'll
body.
get us good grades. And so, yeah, no, but I still remember the day we were doing like an off-season tournament, and Anna actually had let us choose our partners. Like she said, okay, like go like amongst the team, like everybody figure out who you're playing with. And so Sarah and Kirby played together, and you know, all the rest of the seniors kind of got together, and me and Allie were like pretty good friends at the time, he's freshman coming in, and we were trying to get an upperclassman to like play with us, and they were all like, no, like we're gonna like all stick together. And so me and Allie looked at each other, we were like, you want to play? And we actually ended up getting third in that tournament.
Worked out
over
pretty well.
some of our other teammates. Yeah,
Nice.
so I was like, okay, this could work. Like, yeah, that was cool.
And I mean, USC obviously has a winning culture too. I mean, what was it like just making that transition from high school to USC? Like, that's a big change, especially because, I mean, did you win national championships all 4 years you were there?
No, just the 3, not freshman year.
Just the
Yeah.
3.
Just yeah. What
No,
about
yeah.
I mean, the culture, because I obviously went there too, and national championships is everything there.
Yeah.
But the facilities as well.
Oh.
Like you go from high school facilities straight to pros, it's kind of similar.
Yeah.
But if you count that college part, like going to USC is like beyond being a professional in our sport,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah. It
Yeah.
was like, yeah, that's something I miss big time from college, is like using, you know, the McKay Center and like Heritage. Oh, all the facilities were just like incredible there. Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I need to go back. I
Actually
need to take
stupid.
Travis back there.
Yeah.
Come check it out.
We have enough Trojans on the podcast. I feel like I'm
We have
like
a ton of
an
Trojans.
honorary USC
Oh,
student.
yeah, totally.
We're gonna have to go back and like count up, like do sort of a college index to see, because I mean USC and UCLA have to be the overwhelming favorites, and then of course we have Tim Bongren with like Wisconsin.
right. Some random
Some random
Yeah.
over Midwest.
Ryan Doherty at Notre Dame.
Yeah.
They're all over the place.
How much did you see? Well, I guess how quickly did you see your game improve when you were at USC too? Because you were still relatively new to the beach game when you got there, and then when you're on that 6-day-a-week training schedule, I'm sure that you were just like taking these huge leaps and strides too.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we had such an incredible staff over the 4 years, you know. Started out with Anna Collier and Andrew Fuller and Misty May. Like, how, like
Above average coaching
yeah,
staff.
like
Dream
with those
team.
3, like I'm sure I made my biggest strides freshman year. Like, yeah, that was amazing. And then after that, you know, we had Anna all 4 years, and then Dane Blanton came on, and then we had Allie Lamberson, and now they have Gustavo. Like, the staff and trainers, and Kelly Dormandy, our weight training coach, who's like the buffest lady you'll ever see. It's like so funny and awesome, and just wanted all the best for us. Like, yeah, just having like that staff crew like on board with us every single day, like watching us play and like taking stuff home with them and like thinking about what could make us better. Like, totally, I only have them to thank for any leaps and bounds I've made and like where I am today. And it's crazy to think, like, I mean, in the moment you don't really think about like how much better getting, but over those 4 years, like seeing where I started and then where I ended up, it was like, yeah, crazy leaps and bounds.
Do you ever watch like film from your freshman year of college just for kicks? Or sometimes like if you say you have a bad day at practice, You go back and look at it and be like, okay, I'm way better than I was.
I actually the film, like freshman year was like nowhere near kind of where
Right.
it is now. So I don't even know where film would be, but that I would love to see myself playing then rather than now. Yeah, that'd be hilarious. It's a good idea.
Every now and then I'll go back and look at, because I just have like all my old videos just on YouTube, just set to private, and I'll just go back and look at them and be like, oh my sweet heavens, what was happening here?
What was I doing? I don't have, as I started out, I didn't even think about filming myself like ever, so I don't have anything of when I first started, but sometimes I look at pictures of like me like trying to jump serve or something, and like my body's like way in front of like a ball, like back here, and I'm like, oh no. Like, but yeah, I get that.
You're one of the few athletes I've heard that actually doesn't use film that much. Is there any reason, or is it just like too much of a hassle to set up and stuff?
I guess I just never was a film person. We once a week we'd go in and before games and watch film on ourselves and like have the coaches sit with us, but it was also important to them to know, like, okay, do you like after 20 minutes or whatever of film, do you just like zone out, like,
right.
you know, or like, are you one of those that could watch a full game and like that helps you? And for me, it was just one of those like, okay, 10 minutes of film, looking at who I'm playing and what I'm doing, and I'm like, that's like as much as my mind can take.
Totally. That's how probably my mind was in college, and probably until like now. Now I'm like starting to realize like, all right, maybe there's like more to learn here if I can get myself to be less ADD. Yeah. And I'm trying to tap into watching more film, but I'm pretty much the same way as you.
Like
show me a few things and then I'm good.
I know it's good for me, and I'm sure I'll get there. Like,
right.
I'll be like more patient and like and stuff. But like right now, I'm like.
Now we're going to take a quick break for a word from our sponsors. This podcast is brought to you by Wilson Volleyball. The AVP season is back, hallelujah, which means, guess what? We are back to playing with Wilson volleyballs again, and the college girls plays with Wilson, and the CBVA plays with Wilson, the AVP plays with Wilson. There is a reason that all of the pros and those about to become pros play with Wilsons. All right, it is the best ball in the game. It is the one the pros use, and the one that you should use as well. And the good news is that you can get 20% off by using our discount code WilsonSand. All right, and I'll say that one more time. You can get 20% off by using our discount code WilsonSand for 20% off of the best balls in the game. This podcast is also brought to you by Firefly Recovery. Listen, we're all athletes here for the most part, which means that we are all aching in some way or other, or sore somewhere. All right, and a lot of times this is our knees, which is where Firefly Recovery comes into play, which is why I love them so much. So if you're one of those weird people who go to work every day, like I do, you can strap this onto your knee while you're sitting at your desk, and it helps you recover by moving the blood around in the region. I'm not a scientist. I don't know exactly how it works. You can go to fireflyrecovery.com. They have all sorts of testimonials and information out there. But what I just want to say is that it works. Like if you're traveling on a plane to an FIVB or a NORCECA or to AVP Austin or to AVP New York or Seattle or wherever it may be, use Firefly Recovery on the plane. It'll help you recover while you're sitting there on your plane ride talking to people that you probably don't want to be talking to anyway. So use Firefly Recovery to be the best athlete that you can be. We would like to welcome a new sponsor to the show, Pacific Coast Wealth Management, or PCWM, if that's easier for you. If your financial plan goes beyond making it into the main draw of an AVP volleyball tournament, check out their online planning tool at PacificCoastWealthManagement.com. When you're there, click on Build Your Financial Plan Here link, and work with a licensed fiduciary advisor who can discuss 401k, IRA, life insurance, estate plans, tax strategy, Social Security, investments, or good old stock tips, also known as everything that beach volleyball players do not specialize in. You could use the help. Trust me, I know. Hit up Pacific Coast Wealth Management today. Business owners who need to offer benefits, retirement, or pension plans for their employees, partners, or themselves. Or 529 college savings or Roth IRA for your kids. Did you know you can gift $15,000 per year to your kid? Start with your favorite volleyball player by connecting with us at Pacific Coast Wealth Management Instagram or www.pacificcoastwealthmanagement.com, or give them a call, 949-637-7052. Again, their phone number is 949-637-7052. Or we all know that beach volleyball, you're on Instagram. Hit them up at Pacific Coast Wealth Management on Insta. Hit them in your DMs, whatever it may be. Get in touch. We all know we need a little financial help in beach volleyball. These are your guys.
You can't force it either and like stress yourself out, and especially in like a tournament situation, like the night before. You can't be like forcing yourself to watch an hour and a half of video unless you really enjoy it, and you know it needs to be relaxing you, or you need to be like learning and getting more confident and better prepared. And I think there's an art to that. A lot of the older players are obviously better at it.
I always just like film because I have so much trouble connecting the dots from what someone's telling me to do, and then like I'll think that I'm doing it. Like if they're like, "Oh, you're a platform, like you're not getting it out early enough," and I'll feel like I'm doing it, and then I'll watch on film and be like, "That's what they're talking about."
Yeah, so it depends on how you learn too, right? Yeah. Like for me, I'm very much on feel. So like if I do it right, and then it's like, okay, that was the right one. I'm like, okay, I just need to repeat that feeling over and over. But if you're more visual, like you need to see it, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, now I see it. I didn't feel what you were talking about.
And I'm like so stubborn when someone like in the moment is telling me to do something because I like can't picture what I'm doing wrong. And then so I'll be like, just give me like an hour after practice to let me look at it, and then I'll agree with you. But right now I'm just being really stubborn.
Yeah.
Terrible.
I feel that too. Yeah.
I know a lot of college athletes struggle with, I know we've had a few on, like the Witt sisters being one, where because in college you have everything figured out for you. You know when you're practicing, when you're training, what you're eating, like what your warm-up's going to be like, who your partner is, who you're playing, and then you get out to the AVP, and all of that stuff is now up to you. Mm-hmm. So how did you go about making that change, too, in terms of just figuring out everything volleyball-related on your own?
Yeah, I still to this day tell people, like, the one thing that, they told us at school, they were like, you're gonna miss us, like, you're gonna miss us making your schedule for you, and yeah, these 4-hour days are super long, but like you're gonna miss it. Like having to wake up and like do all the stuff.
Structure.
And I was like, no, like I can't wait to get on my own. Like it's gonna be great. And it did not take long at all. And I'm telling people like, oh man, I miss someone making a schedule for me.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, totally. And yeah, I mean, it's just up to you to like, if you want to, get to that level, you got to get the coach, you got to get the trainer, you got to even like, if, you want to make super leaps and bounds, you get the nutritionist, you get all this stuff. And, I'm still learning that. Like I've been out for more than a year, but and sometimes I think like, no, I'm good. I'm fine. Like I'm good. I can just like go to the practice and like, I can figure it out. But like, I'll get moments like that, but then like I have to sit down and be like, no, like if I really want to do this, like, I got to find the coach that fits me, and I got to start. And I just started with a trainer at home. And so I'm still working on that part.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like there's like a anxiety that comes with making your own schedule. 'Cause you're like, am I doing enough? Mm-hmm. Am I doing too much? Like, should I be putting more in? Should I be investing more of my own money in? Whereas like at SC, you're like looking up to all these people. Like, this is SC. Anything they tell me is gold. Yeah. And there's this schedule in front of me, so I'm going to show up here, eat this, do what they tell me, and it's going to be golden. Then you get used to that. You're like trusting it, and then you get out on your own. You're like, oh crap, like I got to create this all by myself. Then you create it, and then you start questioning it. You're like, oh, maybe someone's doing more, or I should be doing this or that, or I'm doing too much, and so you got to come to terms with that. And I've seen definitely athletes from college to pro like completely change and almost like fall out of love with being an athlete sometimes, when they're like, no, I kind of like the structure of it. And that's what I was in love with. But being a professional beach volleyball player, you have to kind of like making your flights and like creating this lifestyle of a professional athlete. Whereas if you're at a desk job or working for a certain company, like they tell you what to do. You just do it and you'll get paid and make a living.
It's a lot too, like the travel arrangements, because this year the AVPs are just like back to back to back to back.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we were talking about it in the airport in Seattle, how it's like every week and a half pretty much. And I like completely forgot to get my plane ticket to Seattle until like 3 days before, and I looked at the prices. I was like, "Oh God,
Like, what did I do?
Dude, it's crazy. And then tries thinking about the point system, which I'm always trying to deal with, but I'm trying to figure out for my comeback. Like, you have to sign up for events 37 days in advance.
for FIVBs."
You have to sign up with USA Volleyball 37 days in advance, and then at
Arbitrary
21-day
number.
mark, you have to be committed with that partner, and then if you need a visa for that event, you have to do it even earlier sometimes. So it's like, how the hell are we? I don't even know what event I want to play in 2 months.
Yeah.
But I have to be committing to it and like figuring out my visas. And It's crazy.
Yeah, that's a whole new level. And I think one of the toughest parts too about qualifier players, and that you're on the cusp of being not in the qualifiers, crossing your fingers for San Fran.
Yeah.
We actually sat down and wrote down, like tried to figure it out,
Yeah.
but it's going to be iffy because it's going to depend on, if some people qualify over in
Poland,
I think it is.
Yeah, there was like
is it Warsaw?
there's 2 Poland events, and then
There's like
Yeah.
a 1-star in Russia, but like nobody's going to that.
right, no, that ain't worth it. That ain't worth that
And then
trip.
but there's a 4-star in
I think it's Poland. Yeah, there's 2 in Poland. I think wasn't there one? Oh no, there was one in Czech last week.
Yep.
Poland this week and next week.
And
or
then I
something?
think there's another one in Poland after that. Yeah.
So
okay.
I think there's
San
4 or 5 teams going
Right.
to that. So it's just going to depend on who doesn't want to fly back.
Right.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Yeah.
But I think that's too what makes it tough for qualifier players to justify the expense of like getting a coach. Because a lot of times you don't have a set partner, because qualifier players are always looking to get bumped up into the main draw by switching partners and upgrading.
Right.
So you don't have like anyone to like split the cost with you. I know that you've kind of popped around a little bit. I mean, you played with Corinne, Allie, Therese, Brittany, Howard, and then Sarah. So it's like hard to like justify that expense when there's no one splitting it with you, and it's not like a set team. It's like, have you gotten a coach yet?
Yeah, we're it's not like super like that's my coach, it's just
Right.
Marty from the AVP.
Okay.
He works with us every once in a while. Yeah. But like we don't have anybody in our box
Right.
or but figuring out that should probably get on that.
Yeah, and there's only so many coaches out there. I mean, half
Yeah.
the people that, like you're saying, like he works for AVP, right? He's not a
Yeah.
full-time coach.
Yeah,
even.
no.
Not that he's not great, but like you might want to go hire a player that's not playing right now, or an ex-player. Or a lot of the times how many coaches are there? There's only a handful of coaches.
Not a ton,
and
yeah.
The top teams are going to get first pick, right? So yeah, it's tough at any level, I think.
How much did Evie, just having him there, help out you and Hayden?
Oh, that was big. I mean, just like without even thinking about the talent of the coach and what they can bring to the table volleyball-wise, like just to have a coach to roll balls to you at practice, to go help out with like the small stuff, especially when you're traveling, like we're trying to get some sleep and he can go do something for us that will get us an extra hour of sleep, go sign us in for courts and go get the film so we don't have to go run around and try to get film from the film guy and figure out what matches we want. We can just like eat dinner, get to the room, watch our 15, 20 minutes of film, get to sleep. He'll have the balls ready at the court so we don't have to like do all this extra stuff and worry about it. And then, having Evie was a very like, everyone has their strengths, and Evie's is definitely like, he can memorize like everyone's tendencies. And like from like years back, he's like, back in the day, like he used to do this, and this. Now he likes to do this in this situation. And remember that play like 2 years ago? I was like, no, I can't remember. I don't remember like last match, dude.
Yeah.
I'm like point to point Evie, but he can recall matches like that, which is great for me because, like I said, I'm point to point. I don't remember. He's like, remember that play you did in like it was 5-5, and I'm like, nope, I don't remember. But it's good. No, you want it. It's hard to find a coach too that complements your skill sets. You don't want someone because everyone sees the game differently, but you don't want someone necessarily that's good at the same stuff you are, right? So like Hayden doesn't need someone to teach him how to make reads and all that. He needs someone to feed him information about tendencies and how he can build his reads based off the information he's given. And Evie's great for that, obviously.
Yeah. And two, one of the things without a coach is setting up practices. So what's your training schedule look like now that you're out of the grinder 4-day at USC?
Yeah, try to take a day off in the week, but something in my heart still tells me like Monday through Friday, like every single morning, like gotta go.
Yeah.
But when me and Sarah were working with Marty, I mean, he had to be in the office, so we'd be 6:30 to 9:30 or whatever, and that would be a couple days a week, and then we'd get a practice in with another team, and then I have weightlifting at home. But
so those were double days.
No. Sorry, 6:30 to 9:30, like Monday, Wednesday, and then like Tuesday, Thursday, we'd get like a practice.
Okay,
maybe we'd drive up here to the South Bay or whatever. But
how are those early mornings on you? Like, does that do you feel pretty fatigued when you do a really early practice versus like a 9 o'clock practice?
I'm like a crazy early bird. Like when I'm up, I'm up. Like, I'm one of those people, like if it is a day to sleep in, like I'll be up at 6. Like,
oh, wow, okay.
And I can't go back to sleep even no matter how hard I try. So it's like the morning stuff is super easy for me. If somebody's like, oh, I can't, I have to practice at 6, I'm like, great, I love that. Like, I can do it.
That's what
You're the same way.
I'm the same way because my dog usually slaps me awake at 5:30 every morning.
No way.
And so now I'm just like trained to do it. So in Seattle, like we got back at like 2 a.m. and I woke up at 6. And like, just because I'm used to it. So I was up and I like went and grabbed a coffee and a book and just sat by the pool until everybody else was awake. They're like, what have you been doing? I was like, just reading
chilling
for 3 hours.
Sounds pretty nice though.
But I just can't picture a better way to start your day than like training. Like we were out there at 7 this morning at Corona Del Mar, and it just like sets up the rest of your day to be awesome.
Yeah, totally. I've tried to, and like, waking up, I just feel like my days are like super long. I've tried to sleep until like 10 or whatever, like, kind of other people. And I have done it like through melatonin or whatever. But I wake up and I'm like, oh my gosh, my whole day is gone. Like
totally.
My entire day is gone, and I start freaking out and I'm like, nope, this is not for me.
Yeah. So I woke up at 10:30 this morning. I was like, I ate breakfast. I was like, well, it's lunchtime.
Yeah.
It's 11.
That's the thing too, is breakfast is my favorite part of the day.
Yeah.
Me too.
I don't like it,
breakfast
but
all day.
These days I need my sleep. I'm kind of trying to kill time while I'm not playing. But yeah,
I'm just like incapable of sleeping in. Like once I'm up, I'm like you. Like I gotta go. The coffee's ready. Let's get the bacon rocking. Let's go.
I like that.
It's totally the mentality.
What are the biggest things that you're working on with your game right now? Unless that's a big secret that you don't want.
No. So I guess, the biggest thing for me is like, I'm getting to this point where, I'm realizing I'm getting to this point where like Sunday's a possibility, like getting to championship Sundays, like it's possible. And I was like, just like 2 points away from that in Seattle. And especially in the game against Kelly and Brittany on Saturday morning, or Saturday afternoon, I guess it was. We were up 18-14 in the second set, and I think that, like we were talking about earlier, I kind of started to like see the finish line before actually getting there, and it kind of freaked me out a little bit because we went into the game like, wow, like this is Allie's best finish, like, and we're like super stoked, and like obviously we want to do more, and like of course we want to get to Sunday, but like this is going to be tough. Like, and so we kind of went into it like super loose, like they're going to come out like nobody else, and we're just, you know, like, I don't know what's going to happen, but let's just play our game. Like, let's just play volleyball. And we were super loose, and then all of a sudden we win the first set, and then we're up 18-14. I'm like, oh man, this is possible. Like, shoot. And so then we kind of got into our heads a little bit, I think, and that's why we ended up losing 21-18 in the second set. And so I think for me right now, it's just I'm trying to find something, like we were talking about, like telling a joke, or like taking that time out earlier than we should have, or fixing a line, like trying to find something physical to like loosen up my body a little bit, so that it's just easier to like get that next side out and close out.
I was laughing when you were up 13-12 in the third set against Amanda Dowdy and Irene, and you were like, hey, let's go. We got a flight to change.
I was back on the end line ready to serve, and I was like fiddling with the ball, and I think they were wiping sand off or something, and I just like yelled at Allie from back there, and I was like, Allie, I want to change my flight. And she just turned, she was like, all right. I was like, yeah. But that worked. So, stuff like that, like, you know, like the joke or whatever, totally. Like that's something that helps. So. And
you keep having to kind of evolve it the further you get, right? You're like, all right, now that got me this far. How can I get it a little bit further? But at the end of the day, it's like you haven't been there unless you've been there. So now you guys as a team have been to that point. Now it's time to take that next step. But
totally.
It's rare that you take like 3 steps at once.
Yeah.
You know? It happens for sure, but yeah, it's good. Progress is keeps you happy, I think. As long as you're moving forward somewhat.
Yeah, and you can see like with your finishes that you haven't skipped any steps. Like you steadily climbed the ladder, like finish by finish. And now you've done something really rare for qualifiers in that most qualifiers, almost every time, I went back and like counted the numbers at one point, but they almost always lose their first match in main draw. Just because, like, you wake up for the next morning and you're just toast.
Yeah.
And usually you don't get, like, any sleep because you're so jacked up from qualifying. But you have won your first 2 matches of both main draws this year, coming out of the qualifier, which in Austin, I can't even tell you how impressive that is. Because you played 4 matches in, like, ridiculous heat, and then you woke up the next morning and won your first 2 main draw matches. How do you recover so quickly?
Well, first of all, it's ice bath. As soon as we get back to the hotel, like, put our legs in the ice, leave them there forever. Like, as long as you can, just, like, relax. And, like, yeah, my huge thing is after qualifiers, just, like, even if, like, my family's there, I make sure I spend time with them, you know, obviously. And, like, thank you so much for coming, but, like, we got to get back to the hotel. Like, the number one priority is to just, like, go rest the body, get in the ice bath, and just prepare for that next day. And, I have such a love-hate relationship with the qualifier. I'm like, at this point, I'm not sure where I want to be in San Francisco because, your team has, like, kind of figured out your crap, like, in the day before the actual tournament. You've gone through, it's crazy, like, 3 matches. Like, I maybe wish it would be, like, 2. But, like going through and like figuring out and getting your rhythm going into the main draw is huge. Like having done that now a couple times, I think that's like why I've like kind of figured it out and like gotten the win, like coming out of on the first day, Friday. But then again, like I hate the qualifier because at this point it seems like the most I can get is a 5th without my body being like enough. But
it looked like you were a little fresher in Seattle in the quarters than you were in Austin.
Oh, the weather. Yeah. I mean, I was actually texting Sarah that I was like, I don't know why I'm not like as tired as I was in Austin because I was dead in Austin when we played Carissa and Katie in our last match of the tournament, and like they absolutely smoked us. I was like, I mean, we went into that match going. I told Sarah because she had never really played them. I was like, this is a team that likes to shoot, and they're going to be scrappy, and it's going to be a game of just, like, running down stuff. And as soon as I was, like, saying that, I was like, oh.
Not a match you want to be tired for.
So Sarah was like, yeah, like
Doesn't sound like an ideal matchup right now.
Yeah, like, and I was like, oh no, this is gonna be rough. But yeah, I think, I mean, it being like 100 degrees, like in Austin, like totally just zapped our energy.
Yeah.
And then coming out here in Seattle, and it was like kind of cold. People were like wearing clothes playing. Yeah, I think it was totally just like the heat that did it for us.
Now, you guys are pretty fiery team, right? We talked about that earlier. Do you ever think about, because this is something I've had to consider throughout my careers, like saving energy and knowing when to celebrate and let out that big yell, and sometimes yelling at the ref. Like that actually takes a lot of energy. I've had to like stop myself from celebrating a lot of times when I want to, like, you know, it's 100 degrees and you just have like 5 or 10 more points. Do you ever kind of take that into consideration?
I've actually,
like, I gotta stop yelling or like for a few points.
Yeah, I've actually never had to do that until Austin.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, in our second round, I looked at Sarah in a timeout and I was like, I can't talk. Like, I literally can't even just speak normally right now. Like, and she was like, okay, like, it's fine. Like, we're good. You know, she totally talked me through the qualifier for sure. But, I don't know, I've kind of like, I feel like I've shocked my body at this point into like, I can scream for a whole match and it'll be fine.
Yeah, perfect.
Just takes your voice a couple days to get back.
Just make sure I'm not doing anything like this.
Right, yeah.
A couple days.
Talking for an hour straight. Whoops.
Yeah, but it's all good.
It is funny, though, you mentioned Katie Spieler and Carissa Cook, and that I've never seen a team score in so many different ways than those two. Like, Carissa will do a jump, bump, backwards jumbo to the corner, and it hits the buckle, and it's just like normal point for Carissa and Katie. I love watching them play because, like, you have no idea how they're going to put the ball away, but they're going to find a way to do it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, especially Katie, just like she has, I mean, you know, being her size, she has to have all the shots in her book, and like she does. You have no idea where it's going to go.
It's funny watching her play Kendra Van Zwieten. Because it's just like older Katie and younger Katie playing against each other. It's just totally. cut shot, chizzy line.
Bump over on two.
Yeah, just nonstop digs.
Gotta watch the 1-over. I was like, that's the first thing I tell my partner if I'm playing against Katie. I'm like, if we hit it at her, or like you see her getting to like your shot, get to the back of the court because she's sending that thing over for sure.
Yeah. And now you and Sarah are running it back for San Francisco, or you and Allie, are running it back for San Francisco.
Yes, we are.
And how nice is it too? Because I know that you and Allie didn't have like a ton of time to prepare. Well, I guess you might have, since you knew you weren't playing New York, right? So did you and Allie start practicing for Seattle, like when you knew that you couldn't get ready for New York and everything?
No, actually, I was practicing with Sarah up until she got injured, and we knew we weren't going to be able to be there. But I actually I tried to ask some people that were already playing. I was like, no, play with me. Like, I have more points thing, and wasn't successful in that. But we didn't start practicing until after New York. After that whole tournament.
Was the FOMO pretty real?
Oh my gosh.
For New York.
I was like, I just wanted updates from the qualifier so bad. Like, I was texting everybody there. I texted Therese, Delaney, like Allie, but then also I was like, I don't know how their games are going, and like they're probably gonna be mad, like sending the board of like I don't know, and so it was so funny because my poor mom, she I'm pretty much always in the qualifiers, so there's never updates like online or anywhere that you can see, and BVB info like updates the bracket like a little bit, behind. But like they're super behind, and so I didn't. And my mom always tells me like, you gotta text me earlier after your game, like if you've won or lost or whatever, and I'm always like whatever, sure, like I'll be better next time. And I didn't realize what that was like until New York, and I'm like, Mom, I'm texting you after the game every time now.
It's tough for parents for sure.
Totally. But the FOMO was real. I was actually like pretty sad that I wasn't going, because like I had like this was my first summer being able to play in like every single one. Yeah, it was a bummer not going, but
Yeah.
all good.
Now you're good for the rest of them.
Yeah.
And
won't be there.
we kind of talked about it when we ran into each other at the airport. Again, we're 2 for 3
Yep.
on airport run-ins. But as far as international plans, you said you might start playing Norseca's whenever Norseca feels like releasing their schedule, like 2 days before signups.
Yeah, I mean, of course, the qualifiers, they're fun to play. And me and Sarah tried to play in a qualifier. Oh, gosh. Forget when that one was, but that was earlier in the year. And didn't do well, but yeah, I for sure am like looking for that and wanting to play in those. In terms of FIVBs, like 1 star, 2 stars, not sure yet. Trying to get the sponsors to help me get there. But yeah.
I definitely recommend Norseca's if you can go. They're pretty fun.
Yeah.
It's like a nice developmental tour, but you're always like in the Caribbean with a good group of people, and money's not great, but it's usually really fun.
Yeah, and getting valuable points for the international scene too if like someone wanted to scoop you up, because I know that Troy Field has been able to play in a few FIVB main draws because of the points that he got from the Norsecas. Zahn scooped him into one. I think Adam Roberts is probably going to pluck him into a couple others. So it's a good just kind of way to get your foot in the door for sure. But speaking of sponsors getting your way places, we got you for San Francisco.
Yay,
congratulations on getting the Sandcast wild card, you and Allie.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. Seriously, like, helps out so much. Can't even tell you.
Yeah, we've all been there. I'm
exactly.
currently there. Try, you've been there too, so we know.
I might have to collect this wild card when I come back.
Yeah, and our guys' winners were the McKibbins, so
fun.
which is funny
Love them.
and they're automatic into main draw. So Madison was stoked. He doesn't have to run into Hagen and Lucas Yoder again.
Yep.
He's like, man, I don't know how many more times we can play and beat them. That's the 3rd straight time
Oh, really?
they've won, and
Dang.
in Austin they should have went to 3 but didn't, and then in New York they went to 3, and in Seattle they went to 3. So Madison was like, thank God. We're good.
Yeah, that's rough when you have to come up with a team that like you keep playing, It's like when like when you know each other's tendencies, so like you just never know what's gonna
Especially
happen.
when you keep beating them too, then you're like each time gets a little more scary.
You
Like,
just know that they're doomed.
like they're gonna come out with fire, like they want this.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and if you've seen Hagen play, like he doesn't need any more fire. After he loses, he goes Hulk Hogan style.
I think he
and rips his
needs to
shirt off.
lose a few pounds, maybe. Move a little faster, a little more efficient. But no, yeah, they're balling though.
Yeah,
they're
they're
dangerous
playing really
always
well.
in the quali if they didn't run into the McKibbins.
Yeah, and Lucas actually just signed to play, I think, in Switzerland, indoor. So he's
cool.
playing with Kyle Friend's old club over there. So I think
nice.
he's out in maybe September. So I think he'll probably finish his. So congratulations to Lucas if he's listening.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome.
So I think he'll probably finish out the rest of the qualifiers and then head overseas.
That's fun. It's always fun to go play indoors and get that experience for sure. I'm sure it's more of just an experience thing for him rather than actually trying to pursue the top level indoor.
Yeah.
Usually that's what
You miss indoor at all?
No.
I haven't heard a single
I
person
get my
say
fill
yes.
watching. I watch my boyfriend play all the time, so it's like that's nope, not for me.
Is it weird rooting for UCLA?
When I was at USC, yeah. When I was still like at USC, I
Your
was
boyfriend plays for UCLA?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
okay.
Jake Arnett's. He just graduated. But when I was at USC, it was weird rooting for UCLA. But now that I'm out, it's like it's not as bad. But he graduated, so through with it.
Good. Yeah, exactly. Nice.
Done rooting for UCLA.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously, volleyball takes up a lot of your time. But what do you do when you're just like kicking it or not playing volleyball?
Art.
Art.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. You God, you had when you were at USC, didn't you have your art displayed at like art athletes or something like that?
Artletics.
Artletics.
There it is.
Yeah.
Got it.
I remember
Yeah,
that.
that was freshman year, and then they stopped doing that after my first year at SC. I don't know why, but Yeah,
Yeah.
athletics was a thing.
And they put it in the Galen Center, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they did that to one of mine.
No way.
My only A in college. I may have not even gotten a B.
Wait, you have a hidden talent?
I got an A in ceramics, my only A of college. And I made this beaver, literally just a beaver, and it became a complete joke to the entire team because they, for some reason, like I wasn't even going to show anyone the beaver. And for some reason, the art teacher was all proud of me. Like, look what this athlete made. I didn't even think it was that good. And they put it, like, in a glass case in the Galen Center. And everyone's like, what is this? I'm like, I don't know. It was part of the, like, I didn't choose beaver. It was part of, like, the...
Oh, I thought you just picked beaver. It's like
No.
It was like an animal to make.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you still have it?
I don't. It was in the coach's office last time I checked, but...
Oh.
It's not there now. I went back, but it was in the coach's office when I graduated. They kept... Brad Keller had all his like club medals around the beaver's neck.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway,
how are we like 40 episodes in and I'm just now finding out about the ceramic beaver?
There's also like a demonic wild boar going around. Might still be in the USC frats. When we graduated, we gave it to Madison McKibben. It was like a life size, like from the shoulders up.
That's
like,
awesome.
Oh my
boar.
gosh.
And then it went to some frat, I think, and who knows what happened. Anyway.
What kinds of stuff do you like to do you draw, paint, or is it just a little bit of everything?
Yeah, I mean, I dabbled in everything at USC just because our time block for volleyball was 12 to 3, and like that took away like some of the classes I really wanted to take.
What was your degree?
Fine arts.
Fine arts,
Yeah,
okay.
with an emphasis in, well, it was supposed to be an emphasis in drawing and painting, but I dabbled in everything just to get like the studio credits. But my strengths are oil painting, watercolor, and drawing for sure.
Sweet, you could probably
Fans are gonna
decorate
need
a
to see
ball
that
pretty
now.
well. We're gonna have to do
Yeah,
like a...
I do. I've been
paint up
drawing. Oh my gosh, one of Kelly Reeves' volleyballs accidentally ended up in my bag, like, and so I was like, well, don't be surprised if it comes out drawn. So I did like the Gucci logo with like the red and green stripe on it.
That's awesome.
So I'm like, I'm just gonna like start stealing volleyballs and giving them back like totally drawn on.
The friendliest thief in history.
Yeah.
Upgrade.
Totally. But yeah, I love drawing on Wilson balls. I think it's so fun.
Yeah.
When I'm just chilling or like on the beach waiting for practice or like after even, I always have like a bag of Sharpies in my bag.
Well, you got to make this a sandcast ball.
Yeah, I totally will.
Sandcast Wilson
That would be
ball.
awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
I
That'll
totally
be
will.
in exchange
We
for
have
the
a ball downstairs.
sponsorship.
Yeah,
There we go.
absolutely.
Sweet.
And
then-
now, good.
You go.
I was gonna say if there's anything you wanted to bring up, anything else you want to talk about.
No, I mean, I'm just like super happy like right now with like where I am, and I know it's gonna be a roller coaster and of like a ride. They're not all gonna be like fifth. I'm like super blessed to have like like worked hard and like gotten 2 fifth places in a row, but like gonna keep working hard and doing my thing, and like I know it's gonna be a roller coaster, and like they're not all gonna be like amazing tournaments, but just trying to enjoy this process just because never gonna really be able to do this again. So yeah, I'm excited for the journey and can't thank you guys enough for having me on here.
Yeah, well,
This
thank
is
you for
cool.
coming in.
Thank you. Yeah.
Appreciate it. This has been fun.
Yeah.
And our final question to all of our guests is if you could give advice to an up-and-coming beach volleyball player, what would that piece of advice be?
Oh, just play every day. Like, I mean, we know we were talking about like, playing too much or like chill or whatever, but like if you're up and coming, I mean, I think it's like super important to get out to all those like CBVAs on the weekends and like just be playing as much as you can because it's such an experienced sport for sure. And like just as much as you can touch a ball and like the contacts, like make sure when you're going to the beach, like get numbers and like talk to people. Like, yeah, I think that's huge. So that's like kind of my piece of advice for sure.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
one of my favorite parts about the beach community too, is that it's just so easy to like get numbers that you were talking about. Like I would just wander out to Huntington when I moved here and just kind of sit there and wait for games. And then when someone needed one, I would just hop in.
Yeah.
That's how like made friends with Ben Vaught, got in a couple groups, and then here I am.
Yeah, totally how it works. It's such a small knit community. Everybody's super cool.
Yeah. We appreciate you making the drive to come up to the Born on the Beach studios.
Yeah.
Thanks for hanging with us.
Thank you guys so much.
Good luck in San Francisco.
Thanks.
Peace.